So here's a tip for you guys that work on your own cars. Don't let your blinker fluid get too low. It's time to refill. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Daninator channel. I've got my 1987 Plymouth Gran Fury here, and as you saw in the introduction, there's some water in this tail light. So I peeled back the panel, undid a couple of screws, and removed the nuts that were holding the light in place, and get a load of this. Whoever owned this car before me put way too much blinker fluid in this thing. Okay, so fast forward a couple of weeks and I'm back at this because my taillight has filled up with water again, obviously. And I've noticed that I've got some bulbs that are burnt out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this light out, check on the bulbs, see if I can replace them, and figure out a way to remedy this trapping water in my taillight. Okay, so now that I got the screws out, we'll pull this panel back and we'll take a look at the condition of these light bulbs. Okay, we just twist and pull and we'll look at this thing and it's rusted. Shocker. I thought maybe I could break the rust by kind of wiggling this light bulb back and forth, and it's just not budging. It is rusted solid. And I can't get this thing loose. So let's check out the other bulbs. And rusted. Go ahead and pull this one out, and it looked okay. Didn't look like it had really any rust on it. Alright, so now we got to figure out how we're going to get these bulbs out. So my next course of action was to try to use a pair of pliers. Probably not too smart because this thing is glass. Ultimately, yeah, I do break it. Another shocker. But it took me a little bit of finagling, and finally I just kind of really just mashed on this thing and twisted it and finally got it to break free. And it finally popped out. Thank goodness. Sick. I used a little wire brush and kind of brushed the rust off. Then I got some dielectric grease to keep the moisture out, which I hope not to have any after I try to remedy the situation with the water getting in, but just in case, this should do the trick. So I'm going after this other rusted bulb, but this one thankfully behaved a little bit better. I was able to kind of wiggle it back and forth and broke the rust free and got the bulb out without having to use my pliers and make another mess by shattering yet another bulb. Quite a bit of nasty down there. So again, I'm going to lube this down pretty liberally with some dielectric grease to keep the moisture out, and we'll reinstall these light bulbs. Okay, so we're under the rear of the car on the driver's side, and this tail light is still getting water in it. I did a few things kind of off camera to see if I can keep water out of it. We've had a lot of rain the last couple of days, and it's got water in it again. So I'm going to take the advice of some people that have left comments. Just drill a hole in it. That way it'll just drain. Alrighty then. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's got some water in it. Well, it's leaking out pretty good, so I guess that's gonna do the trick. Thanks for the tip, guys. Got water all over my head. That's a lot of water. Alright, now the taillights have been drained and rebulbed. Let's take a look at the headlights. Okay, so pay attention, guys. Tell me when you see it. Yeah, we got a cross-eyed cricket up here. And figure out why this headlamp is turned to the inside. Okay, so I popped the hood, and what I love about these old cars is just the amount of room you have to get to things. Modern cars just cram pack everything. You can't get your hands behind nothing to fix anything. So anyway, you can see here there are plastic retainers that hold the screws in place. These are adjustable headlights held back by springs. Well, obviously this one here is missing, so that's why it is airing to the inside, because there's nothing holding the outside of this lamp. So I picked up these Dorman replacement headlamp adjuster screws. Comes with all new plastic pieces. So we're going to use one of these to fix this crooked headlight. So I'm going to take this dual headlight trim piece off. There's only 4 Phillips screws that hold it in place. So that has to come out so I can get the 4 screws that hold the connecting trim piece that holds the headlamp into the socket. There's supposed to be 4 screws, but this one only has 3 for some reason. So this is what I was talking about earlier with the springs. These springs keep the socket under tension so that when you tighten the adjuster screws, it has something to kind of work against. So yeah, it's a pretty simple design. And so obviously, since there's no retaining clip on this side, the spring is pulling it towards the center of the car. Next, I'm going to pop the retaining clip out of the body of the car on the adjuster screw on the top. To do that, I just push in these little tabs and push through the hole. On this other side, I thought the retaining clip was completely missing, but it's not actually. It's still there. It's just the tabs are gone. They snapped off probably years ago. Well, if you look closely, you can see that the replacement screw has a different shaped head. Looking at the original screw, there's a tapered edge, and that goes into the slot on the socket much better than this new one. I couldn't get it to go in, so I'm going to go ahead and use the original screw with the new plastic replacement pieces. Okay, we're going to put all this back together, hook the spring into the corner, push the top screw retainer piece into place until it clicks, and then working on this new one, I'm going to push that in until it clicks. And it never clicked. I don't know what's going on. The plastic retainer clip doesn't seem to be fitting this spot very well at all. So I'm going to take a closer look. So there's a gray and a white retainer clip in the package. The gray one just was not fitting, so I'm going to use this white one. And sure enough, it fits perfectly. Alright, well that is looking a lot better. When it gets dark, I'll do some adjusting on these, make sure they're pointing in the right direction, but right now they look pretty good. Alright, moving on, I want to replace some burned out bulbs that are in the turn signal area and the side markers. So replacing those is pretty simple. Let me show you. Okay, so there are 3 bulbs on each side. One is right here in the corner, the side marker, and there are 2 for the parking lamps / turn signal area. And they're really easy to get to. They're just right underneath the front clip, and you can see that you can just reach up there real simply and twist and pop those out. But the side marker is kind of tricky because it's really kind of crammed in that corner, and it's tough to get out with, fat fingers. But anyway, replacing those is just as simple as that, and it makes the car look much better. But don't take my word for it. Have a look. And to wrap up the lights with this Gran Fury, I was rooting around in my garage and I found 2 LED taillight bulbs. I went ahead and threw those in the car, and I put them in the sockets closest to the license plate. But the rest of the bulbs are the standard incandescent bulbs. So the LED lights are instant on and off, and the incandescent bulbs are, they take their time coming on and off. And it kind of gives it this cool sequential turn signal looking effect. I think it's really neat. When I first put the LED lights in, they didn't want to blink properly, so I figured it was the flasher, and that's located underneath the dash. I just put the original flasher that was in my 97 Camaro into the car, and it worked. The flashers started functioning properly. If you recall, I had to remove that out of my 97 because the LED lights I put in there required a digital flasher, not a mechanical. I don't know how this is working, but it's working, and I'm not going to complain. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Stay tuned to the channel because there'll be more content on this 1987 Plymouth Gran Fury. So hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you'll be notified when I post new content. As always, thanks for watching. God bless. Be sure and hit that like switch on your way out. We'll see you next time.